Someone sees how dangerous your discernment is. Yes, sir. Let me say it louder. For my chosen ones in the back. Listen, family. Someone sees how dangerous your discernment is. Somebody drop in the comments and say, my discernment is dangerous. Yes, sir. Make sure y'all drop in the comments, family, and say, my discernment is dangerous. Reno, what is discernment? See, when you have discernment, this means that you have the ability to feel things that has yet to present itself, right? You have the ability to see things that has yet to become visible. And see, what people don't realize is that when you have that discernment, this makes you a powerful being. And those who are around you can sense it. They can feel it in the air, literally. And so with that being said, y'all, don't underestimate how dangerous your discernment is, because they're not. Don't undermine your discernment, because they're not. They're paying attention to it. And this is why they act the way they act around you. This is why people have to dumb your intelligence down. This is why people have to make you feel like the things you feel are not real. Man, you putting too much energy on that. No, you putting the right amount of energy on it. That is your discernment telling you to bad back. That is your discernment telling you to take a closer look at what they're doing, right? And so with that being said, y'all, once again, your discernment is dangerous, and they are realizing how dangerous it is, all right? Somebody drop in the comments and say, I'm powerful. Yes, sir. Make sure you drop in the comments, family, and say, I'm powerful. Now, as y'all can see, y'all, we are outside connected with nature. It's pretty calm out here. People walking their dogs. People are walking. Waterfall is going. Got a few people out here doing picnics, right? The legendary field, the green pasture, as we call it. I'm sending nothing but love, happiness, peace, and prosperity to the family. And if you're having a bad day, I hope that this video is the one that uplifts your soul, right, and pour into you. Because understand something. You are dangerous. And your discernment is not lying to you. It's telling you everything you need to know. And it's giving you all the tools you need to destroy the enemy. All right? Anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and get directly into it. Y'all make sure y'all leave a thumbs up on this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. Yes, sir. Not only that, y'all, but y'all be sure to ring my bell so you can be notified after every single video I post. Let's get right into it, y'all. Number one, this is how you know, or this is why they see your discernment as dangerous, because you have improved decision making. Yes, sir. Let me say it louder. For my chosen ones in the back. Listen, family, you have improved decision making. Anybody seen them, or y'all remember them bad kids back in the day when you was coming up? The kids who didn't have their mom, the kids who didn't have their dad. And this is not all kids, because there's obviously some kids who had their mom or didn't have their mom or didn't have their dad and became multimillionaires or became preachers or, you know, just great outcomes, right? But by and large, y'all, for the most part, when you're talking about kids who didn't have a good upbringing, they didn't have a good mom or good dad, the right guidance, what happens is, y'all, is they turn out to be bad decision makers, right? These are the kids who probably end up in prison, dead, jail, end up selling drugs, end up doing all the typical things that the criminal would do before it leads to their destiny, dead or in jail. Well, the reason why I mention this, y'all, is because if you take the opposite of what that kid had, such as a good mom, good parents, or even a good upbringing, maybe they didn't have their mom or dad, but they had grandma or some type of positive influence in their lives. You can tell the difference in between their decision making. They're learning more about credit, right? They're learning more about themselves. They are leading themselves in the right way to go because they have already been taught in the way that they should go. Decision making, that is connected to your discernment. See, if you don't have no discernment, you're going to lead yourself into the wrong positions. You're going to put yourself around the wrong people, right? And so with that being said, y'all, You have to understand that people don't want you to make the right decisions. They want to be able to tell you what decisions to make. They want to be able to influence your decision making. But when you have that discernment, when you have that intuition, you understand how to make your own decisions. Somebody drop in the comments and say, I got me. Yes, sir. Make sure you drop in the comments, family, and say, I got me. See, the world prey on people who can't make decisions. The world prey on people who are lost. They prey on them. Why? Because they are fooled and they are looking for someone to lead them into making a decision. But there's a big problem with that. What is that? That problem is the decision that they're going to have you making are only for their greater good, which means it is only a selfish act on their behalf. So this is why they prey on the weak. This is why they prey on people who don't have guidance. This is why they prey on women who didn't have a father. This is why they prey on men who have mommy issues. Make sense of what I'm saying, y'all? Drop in the comments and let me know. Improved decision making. You're not so fast to buy something that doesn't provide value. You're not so fast to get in a relationship with a person who don't provide value. You're not so fast to giving a person your quality time. You're not so fast to doing these things. Why? Because you have improved decision making, all due to your discernment. Okay? A great example, y'all, would be when I was going to school, right? I had the opportunity to go to Full Sail, and I had the opportunity to go to the Art Institute of Atlanta, which is the school that I actually graduated from. And so with Full Sail, it was a great opportunity, a great school, right? To be honest, in terms of education-wise and in terms of what I was going to get from that particular school, it would have been a lot better. But I'm going to tell y'all why discernment is so powerful and why it is very well needed for your decision making. Well, within that school, they had everything I needed, right? But the problem was I was going to pay out of state tuition, and I was going to have to pay out of pocket to live. And I knew that that wasn't going to be lucrative for me. I was basically going to have to be an adult on top of a student, right? I got to pay for school, and I got to pay out of state tuition, and I got to pay for housing. And I had to pay for food. It was going to be too much I had to pay. Now, somebody may say common sense, but if you take an 18-year-old with no discernment, they'll be like, hey, it sounds like a deal to me. It wasn't a deal. I needed to have that discernment to make the right decision. So I go to the Art Institute of Atlanta, where I ultimately end up graduating from, and they had student housing, they had everything I needed. The only thing that I was basically paying for was myself to eat. And that is a great way to learn how to become an adult. Make sense of what I'm saying, y'all? But sticking to the point, it was my the discernment contributed to my improved decision making. All right? The problem is, a lot of people don't have discernment, which means they will not be able to make the right decisions in life. This is why you see so many people married to the wrong people. This is why you see so many individuals with the wrong friends. The last thing I say on this, y'all, is y'all remember I want to say Kanika Jenkins girl, right? When she went out to a trip she went out on a trip with her friends. And this actually has happened to multiple young ladies, right? Went out, on a trip with their friends. The entire time friends are jealous of them. They pop up dead, right? And this happened to a young lady who I actually went to school with, right? Her name was Renee McTeer. For those who are from where I'm from, y'all would know exactly what I'm talking about. Same thing. The story is the girls were jealous of her, but she ended up being, intoxicated. But they put her out on the interstate, and she ended up getting hit. She died a fatal death. She was killed. But all this comes from utilizing your discernment. When you don't put yourself in certain situations and positions, certain things won't happen. This is why your discernment is so dangerous, because you can see it before it happens. You have improved decision making. Make sense of what I'm saying, y'all? Drop in the comments and let me know. Number 2, it's gonna be this right here, family. Navigation of complex situations. Yes, sir. Let me say it louder. For my chosen ones in the back. Listen, family. Navigation of complex situations. So you got to know how to move out here in this world. You got to understand what to do when you are on the deep end. You take, for instance, somebody who get in the pool. They go all the way down to the 8 feet, side of it, the deep end. And you got to realize, y'all, ain't too many people out here in this world 8 feet, right? You may get you a 6'5". You may get you a 6'7". Ain't too many people past 7 feet out here in this world. They are, but listen, y'all, we ain't living in the biblical times, where there was giants walking amongst the earth. So that means you got to know how to swim. You got to know how to navigate throughout that water. How many people can actually navigate throughout this world, throughout water, when things get deep, when things get muggy and tough? You have to understand how to navigate through it. Discernment helps you navigate, right? See, this right here may be a terrible example, but I'm going to utilize it anyway. Y'all ever heard of a functional drinker? A functional drinker is a person who can drink, drive, drink, clean, drink, work out. Basically, they can be intoxicated and still go on about their daily routine, their everyday schedule, right? And still be able to function properly. You have to almost be like a functional drinker, meaning when things are clouded, when your judgment is clouded, when you can't see clearly, when things are just very difficult for you to even understand, okay? You got to be like that functional drinker. You got to still be able to maneuver out here in this world, aka navigate through complex situations. And people bank on you being in a situation that you can't quite understand. They bank on you to being in a weak position. Therefore, they can tell you anything. Therefore, they can give you anything, right? People don't want you to think for yourself. They want to do the thinking for you. They want to do the thinking for you, right? Somebody drop in the comments and say, I think for me. Yes, sir. Make sure you drop in the comments, family, and say, I think for me. This is what they don't want. From television shows, movies, society, family, even friends. They don't want you to think for yourself. And when things get hard, they are banking on you to not navigate through a complex situation. Let me just toss it on this person. This is why certain people don't want to move up in rank when it comes to a job. They don't want to be the supervisor. Too much responsibility. They don't want to be the manager. Too much responsibility, right? Why be the manager when I can be a worker, make, 75% of what they make and still be able to live okay? I may be struggling, but, I don't got to live in a mansion. I can have a 1-bedroom apartment or even get me an extra job. But anything to do or anything that I could do other than struggling and being in that position of taking on responsibility that I don't want to have, right? I don't want to do inventory. I don't want to have to count at the end of the night. I don't want to have to manage these people over here. For what and for why, right? Some people don't understand how to navigate through complex situations. That's why certain people are in the position that they're in. It is what it is, y'all. Make sense of what I'm saying? Drop in the comments and let me know. Number 3, it's going to be this right here, family. Self-awareness and understanding. Yes, sir. Let me say it louder. For my chosen ones in the back. Listen, family. Self-awareness and understanding. When you have that discernment, you are self-aware and you have understanding. Let's break down self-awareness. See, self-awareness, a great example of this would be when you walking in the neighborhood, and if you see some people with some black, hoodies on, black ski mask, you got to be self-aware of your surroundings, that maybe somebody finna get robbed, and in order to preserve yourself, you need to get up out of there. Self-awareness. Another thing that self-awareness can, or another example of self-awareness can be, let's just say you don't have patience with people. But guess what? If you lack that self-awareness of that, then guess what? You will never be able to dictate or peak whenever you are not having patience with people, because you're not self-aware. These are your people who are causing damage onto other people, but they don't even see the damage. They think everybody else is the problem. They lack self-awareness. Your discernment gives you that self-awareness. And people want to tell you about yourself. You a bad person. You ain't this, you ain't that. You the worst person ever. But if you're self-aware, you know exactly who you are. It's not to say that you can't take no honest critique, but constructive criticism and criticism are two different things. When you break down understanding, you understand when things are wrong, when things are right. You understand when you are in the right position or in the right environment. You have the compassion to understand a person's true intentions and their heart. See, everybody don't have understanding. Take, for instance, that kid that was in class and they were trying to understand a simple math problem. Something as simple as 5 plus 5. Somehow they always come up with 11. Somehow they always come up with 12. But it takes a teacher who can understand that, hey, maybe I can teach it to them this way. So instead of putting 5 plus 5 right there, let me put 5 lines right here and 5 lines right there and make them count them up. Maybe they'll understand that that makes 10 as well. See, you have to have understanding in order to do that. Or you're going to say, put this kid in special ed. They don't understand simple math. No, it takes understanding. And that also comes with discernment, right? Once again, somebody drop in the comments and say discernment is powerful. Yes, sir. Make sure you drop in the comments, family, and say discernment is powerful. Number 4, it's going to be this right here, y'all. Spiritual growth and development. Okay, spiritual growth and development. This is why your discernment is so dangerous, because you're growing at the speed of light. You moving so fast. You are developing so fast. This is why you don't have the same friends. This is why you're not associating with the same people. And when you get in relationships, it's so hard for them to keep up with you. It's so hard to, stay on par with you, because you are growing spiritually every day, which means your spiritual senses are heightening, increasing, right? You understand spiritual warfare at a different level, and you're moving at a different pace, okay? And so when that happens, you are now developing. You're developing into a different woman. You are developing into a different man. And that in itself makes you intimidating to be around. It makes you intimidating to even talk to. And you're just being yourself. You have that discernment. So for instance, them same people who you used to hang with who want to go to the club, you're telling them, listen, man, it's deeper than just going to the club. It's not even just because you can get shot. It's the spirit that's at the club, right? When you start looking at the TV show in a spiritual sense instead of just a physical sense, you'll realize that that TV show you're watching, it's a spirit in it. When you start realizing that movie that you want to watch, it's a spirit in that movie. Why do I want to associate myself with something that has a spirit that's strong in it? But when you are spiritually developing and when you are spiritually growing, you start looking at every single thing differently, especially in a spiritual sense. Once again, y'all, this is why you have to be mindful of what you consume. This is why you have to be mindful of what you watch, etc. You have to. The point being is, it's because you are spiritually growing and developing, and you're going to always seem like the eyeball. You're going to always seem like the crazy one. But in actuality, they are realizing how dangerous your discernment really is. Number 5, y'all, the last thing is influence. Influence, y'all. When you have discernment, you have the ability and the power to influence people. So, y'all know me. I'm not the type of person, or I'm not an advocate for men or women encouraging other people who are married or in relationships to do single people stuff, to do single people ish. I'm not the advocate for that. I'm not the type of person who encourages homewreckers and, man, let them have friends even if they single. That ain't me. If you in a relationship, if you are married, you don't need to have single friends. Single people think differently. People in relationships and people who are married, they think differently. Happily married, that is. But sticking to my point, y'all, what I want to say is that although I'm not the advocate for that, let's just say you may be single, or maybe you're in a relationship, but you have a buddy who's in a abusive or toxic relationship with a woman. If you have discernment, then your influence can change his thinking towards that person. This is why she don't like you, bro. If you are a woman and you see your fellow, sister or your fellow friend, lady friend, in a situation with the abusive or toxic man, dysfunctional man, then guess what? Your influence alone will change her mindset. This is why he don't like you being around her. See, anytime you have that discernment, they know that you can influence them to do right by themselves. They know that you can influence them to begin thinking differently. See, they want them to feel like all they need is them. They want to keep them isolated. They don't want your influence. This is why they get so threatened. This is why they get so mad, pissed off whenever they see you. You ain't even did nothing wrong to them, but they see how dangerous your discernment is. And this goes with anything. If you see a person on a job, knowing that they have a gift on the inside of them, knowing that they got something greater on the inside of them, and you talk to them, listen, y'all, you will transform their entire mind. Well, they just lost a worker. That's what they was trying to avoid. Family, when you have discernment, you are very dangerous. Your influence alone makes people see how dangerous you are. It makes people see how dangerous your discernment is. You can influence a group of people. You can influence an organization. You can. Because your discernment tells you what you need to know, and it leads you where you should go. All right. But with that being said, y'all, that's going to conclude this video. Okay. As y'all can see, once again, y'all out here in nature, y'all make sure y'all like this video, subscribe, share this video, and of course, y'all be sure to get one of those Yes Sir t-shirts, Yes Sir hoodie, book a one-on-one session with your boy. Okay. Be sure to check out any one of those books. And of course, family, enroll into the social influence course. I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Y'all keep a rich mentality. Peace.